Welcome to Lucky Fortune English Podcast. I'm Vincent, and we're doing something a little different today. We're going to do a deep dive into your personalized Zodiac forecast for February 5th, 2025. With me to help break it all down is our resident expert, Jenny.
Hey, everybody. You know, it's funny, even if you don't, live and breathe by your horoscope, it's kind of interesting to see what these daily insights can tell us.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's jump right in. We'll start with Aries. The horoscope is highlighting kind of a down-to-earth vibe for you today, all about ditching the daydreams and really focusing on tangible action. What do you think about that, Jenny?
Well, it's a good reminder that even though it's important to sort of like visualize your goals, to see yourself achieving what you want to achieve, the real way to make progress is to actually like take concrete steps. So instead of just fantasizing about that promotion, Aries, maybe today is the day to identify one specific skill you can work on or one project to really like knock it out of the park.
Yeah, make that dream a reality. Take action, Aries. It's interesting they're also saying that practicality is kind of a theme that goes into the romance realm for you today as well. Aries, the horoscope suggests that like acts of service will be much more powerful than some kind of grand gesture.
Yeah, exactly. So think about maybe doing something helpful for your partner. Maybe there's a chore that they've been putting off that you could tackle. Or, maybe you could just offer them a back rub after they've had a long day. It's those little acts of love that really make a difference.
Absolutely. Now, Taurus, it seems like you're being cautioned against being too easily swayed today. The message for you is all about being discerning, really thinking things through.
I think it's like the universe is saying to Taurus, hey, double check everything, especially when it comes to financial decisions. So, let's say you're thinking about making a big purchase or an investment. Today's not the day to just jump on the first deal you see. Do your research, get some expert advice, read some reviews, compare prices, be an advocate for yourself.
Yeah, shop around a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a great reminder, for all of us too, right? Like when was the last time that you really sought out a second opinion before making a big decision? It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new opportunity, but sometimes taking that step back, getting more information, can really save you a lot of trouble down the road.
For sure. Okay, Gemini, let's talk about you. You're in for a day where your natural energy and your, kind of decisiveness are going to be your biggest assets. Like you are going to be effective and on point. You'll be ready to tackle anything.
Sounds like a great day to be a Gemini. Although there is a little bit of a warning, right? A little bit of a caution here.
Yeah, the horoscope is emphasizing that, yes, hard work is really important, but a little cleverness can go a long way too. So it's kind of like, book smarts are great, but don't forget about your street smarts.
Yeah, so maybe if you're facing like a challenging situation at work, whether it's a complex project or some kind of tricky negotiation, don't just like charge ahead without thinking. Take a second, assess the situation, consider all the different angles, and, really come up with a creative solution that plays to your strengths.
All right. Moving on to Cancer. Your horoscope is presenting kind of an interesting contrast. It's saying that your usual approach, the kind of go with the flow energy that you bring, might actually hold you back a little bit today.
Interesting. So are they saying that Cancer needs to be a little more intentional, more mindful about the choices they're making today?
Yeah, I think it's about self-awareness. It's about making sure that your actions are really like truly aligned with your goals, both professionally and personally. And, in your relationships, this could mean making a point to consider your partner's needs and not just assuming everything is okay. Check in with them, ask them how they're doing, and listen to their responses. Really listen.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so Leo, moving on to you. The theme for you today seems to be missed opportunities. Like there's a lot of potential, but maybe a lack of focus to harness it.
Yeah, and I think that's where observation comes in. Pay attention to what's happening around you, both the big picture, but also like the little details. What are you noticing? Are there any recurring themes that you're picking up on? And once you have a better sense of that, you can start to pick some achievable goals and break them down into, actionable steps.
Yeah, that's a good reminder for everyone, not just Leos, right? Like
Yeah.
we can get so focused on these big, ambitious goals that we kind of lose sight of those smaller, everyday opportunities that can actually move us forward.
So true. All right, Virgo. You might be feeling the pressure today, a lot on your plate, overwhelmed, not enough time or energy. Sound familiar?
Been there, but it
Yeah.
sounds like the horoscope has a solution for that.
Yeah, it does, but it might be a tough one for Virgo to swallow. Delegation and collaboration. I know Virgos love to be in control. You like to do everything yourself. But today it's so important to recognize your limitations and ask for help. Delegate a task at work, ask a friend for help with errands, or just ask your partner to take something off your plate. Anything to lighten the load.
Yeah, and if you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just communicating that need for space or support to your loved ones can really help prevent those misunderstandings and resentment down the line.
Communication is key, always. Okay, Libra, things aren't looking too sunny for you in the horoscope today. Irritable, fault-finding, seeking solitude.
We've all been there, right?
Hey.
But I feel like this horoscope is urging Libra to look a little deeper.
Yeah, it's asking you to really consider the source of your frustration. Is it really external? Is it something that's happening around you, something other people are doing? Or could it be, maybe it's reflecting something internal, some dissatisfaction within yourself. Maybe you're projecting your own inner turmoil onto everyone else. So Libra, take a little time for introspection and see if you can figure out where this mood is really coming from.
I think that's an important thing for all of us to think about, right?
Right.
Like, how often do we blame our bad mood on external factors when maybe the real issue is internal? Yeah, it's a good exercise in self-awareness.
Now, Scorpio, your horoscope suggests that you might be feeling a little burdened today. Maybe you have a lot of responsibility and you're not getting a lot of support from the people around you.
Yeah, I can see how that would feel pretty isolating.
Yeah.
So what's the advice for Scorpio today?
Boundaries.
Mm.
Scorpio, boundaries. It is time to assert yourself. Make sure you're not always giving without getting something back. It's okay to say no sometimes, you know. Protect your energy and prioritize your own needs.
That's a powerful message, really, for everyone.
Mm.
Are there areas in your life where you're constantly giving without receiving? Are you sacrificing your own well-being to please others? I think that's something we all need to think about.
All right, Sagittarius, let's see what the stars have in store for you. It looks like today is all about perspective shifting. Like it's calling you to really step outside of your own little bubble and try to understand, like really try to understand other viewpoints.
So it's all about empathy and communication.
Exactly. Put yourself in someone else's shoes for a minute. Listen without judging. Ask questions to really understand where they're coming from. You might be surprised at what you learn, and I guarantee it'll strengthen your relationships.
Yeah, and I think in romantic relationships especially, it's about bringing things down to earth a little bit. Try to avoid those idealistic expectations and really focus on genuine understanding and connection with your partner.
Okay, Capricorn, moving on to you. It seems like the key word for you today is flexibility. Because things might not go exactly according to plan, so being able to kind of adapt and adjust is going to be super important.
So the horoscope says adapt and adjust. They're talking about experimentation and like course correcting when things don't work out. What does that look like in the real world?
Let's say you're working on a project and you know that first approach you tried, it's just not working. So instead of getting frustrated or giving up, you take a step back, you reassess, you think, okay, is there a different method I can try? Maybe I should ask a colleague for their feedback, or maybe I just need to break this project down into smaller pieces, make it a little more manageable.
It's about seeing those quote-unquote failures as learning opportunities, right?
Yeah.
We all have those times when things don't go as planned. And I think it's really how we respond to those challenges that makes all the difference.
So true. Okay, Aquarius, it looks like you've got a pretty jam-packed schedule today. Lots of demands on your time, lots of responsibilities.
Oh, that sounds like a recipe for burnout.
I know, right? So I think the advice here is to really prioritize self-care and find ways to manage your time effectively. Maybe you need to block off some time in your schedule for a walk or, even just a few minutes of meditation, anything to clear your head. Or maybe there's a productivity app that can help you, get more organized and stay on track. Or, hey, maybe it's just about saying no to one extra commitment so you can protect your energy.
And even in relationships, I think being mindful of your schedule is really important. If you're feeling super overwhelmed, maybe it would be helpful to actually schedule in some quality time with your partner so your relationship doesn't fall by the wayside.
And finally, last but certainly not least, we have Pisces. It seems like you might be starting the day with low energy, maybe a little bit of a lack of motivation.
We've all been there. So what's the advice for pushing through that initial inertia?
Well, what's interesting is that the horoscope is connecting this lack of energy to self-belief and resilience. It's almost as if you're letting those negative thoughts kind of, block your potential.
So it's about remembering your strengths, remembering what you're capable of, even when you don't feel like you're at your best.
Exactly. Give yourself a pep talk, remind yourself of all the things you've accomplished. You got this. And on a more practical level, the horoscope is advising Pisces to be a little cautious with finances today. So saving and conservative investments are going to be a lot more favorable than any kind of risky ventures.
Wow, okay, so we've gone through all 12 signs. And I gotta say, even as someone who doesn't check their horoscope every day, there's some really good advice in there.
I know, it's fascinating to me how often these horoscopes, even though they seem very specific, they really tap into these universal human experiences that we all share. We all struggle with motivation. We all have relationships. We have to make decisions. We're all just trying to find that balance in our lives.
Absolutely. It's like these astrological archetypes that give us a new framework for understanding those challenges, right?
Totally.
Hmm.
And so even if we don't necessarily believe that, the stars are literally controlling our fate, exploring these horoscopes can help us become more self-aware and maybe even shift our perspective in a more positive way.
Yeah. So for our listener out there, regardless of your zodiac sign, what do you think is the most important takeaway from today's, deep dive into the daily horoscope?
I'd have to say it's the power of choice. Whether it's Taurus, being reminded to do their research before making a decision, or Cancer needing to be a little more proactive, or even Leo, needing to pay attention to the smaller details. These horoscopes, they remind us that we really do have the power to shape our day, to shape our lives.
It's not about letting the stars decide our destiny. It's about using this information as a tool, right?
Yep.
A tool for personal growth and reflection.
And, beyond that, there's this theme of action that I think runs through pretty much all of these predictions. We saw Aries is all about taking action, right? Gemini needs to combine hard work with cleverness. And even Pisces, even though they're feeling a little low energy, the advice is to tap into that resilience and unlock their potential.
It's all about remembering that we are not just passengers, right? We have the power to make choices, to take action, and really create the life we want to live.
And that, I think, is a very powerful message.
So for you, dear listener, what resonated with you the most today? What's one action that you're going to take based on what we've talked about? Take a second to think about that.
And remember, even though we were looking at things through the lens of astrology, these themes are universal. They apply to everyone, no matter what your sign is.
And hey, even if you're not someone who regularly checks their horoscope,
Yeah.
this is just a little glimpse into what February 5th, 2025 might have in store.
Yeah, and if you want to dive a little deeper, you can always check out your full horoscope. Get a more in-depth look at the day ahead.
But yeah, even without that, I hope you've gotten some useful tips. And maybe even, a little bit of a feeling of control over your day.
That's really what we're all about here, right? Encouraging everyone to think critically and connect the dots and ultimately, be the master of your own destiny.
Well said. And with that, I think we'll wrap up this episode of Lucky Fortune English Podcast. It's been a really fun, kind of unique exploration of your day through the lens of astrology.
Yeah, and just remember, knowledge is power, and we can find insights, like even in the most unexpected places, that can help us navigate life's ups and downs.
So true. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insightful and entertaining episodes.
Subscribing to our channel will bring you good luck. See you again.